I'm Owen Hughes. It's time for a road trip. Join me as we tour California's Death Valley. After a 3-hour-plus bus ride, our tour stops in Baker, home to the world's tallest thermometer at 134 feet, dedicated to the hottest temperature ever recorded, 134 degrees, in Death Valley. After a lunch stop here, we drive the final 94 miles to Death Valley National Park. Even in early spring, the landscape looks unforgiving, and not for the faint of heart. But is this a valley of death or a valley of life? It depends on when you go, what you see, who you talk to, as we'll find out. As we reach the national park, our first stop is Zabriskie Point. It's a breezy afternoon, but with its spectacular panoramic views and a hiker's delight. Zabriskie Point proves to be a great start to our tour. From here we reach the ranch, a sprawling oasis, and our home for the next 2 nights. The following day we head to the park's visitor center.
Well, one of the interesting things about Death Valley is it became very well known during the gold rush because so many of the 49ers were coming across. Interestingly enough, it is now the largest national park in the continental United States. There are 4 national parks larger, but they're all in Alaska. For size, this is the largest national park, and almost nobody realizes it. Larger than Yellowstone.
It's a crisp, sunny morning as we head inside. The center is a superb resource in Death Valley history. An array of photos and exhibits spell out the deep background. A full impression of the people and geology of the area brings clarity to how Death Valley was formed. From here we head south and reach Badwater Basin. Located in lower Death Valley, Badwater Basin is 282 feet below sea level, making it the lowest point in the Western Hemisphere. And due to recent rainfall, another phenomenon has occurred.
This is referred to as Lake Manly, which was the ancient name applied to the ancient lake that existed here 10,000 years ago, named after the first pioneer party, a white pioneer party that came through here in 1849. The last time this lake formed, at least of this size and depth, was 2005 with a previous super bloom. So 20 years ago, this very same thing happened. I'm guessing it's still at least 24 inches out somewhere in the middle. It was 24 to 30 inches for me on February 23rd. The Park Service keeps saying it's 1 foot, but it's easily more than 1 foot when you walk out there.
With a pleasant boardwalk and easy stroll to the salt flat, Badwater Basin is very popular. Prior to lunch, we head north. With damaged road conditions at the Devil's Golf Course, we head to desert lands utilized for space experiments by NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena. The grounds here are used for testing rovers on Mars. Death Valley's geologic conditions are similar to the Red Planet and make for a perfect testing ground. We then head to lunch at the historic Inn at Death Valley. Opened in 1927, this AAA 4-diamond hotel is one of the elite hotels in the entire national park system. A delicious buffet lunch on a beautiful sunny day made for a perfect setting. The Harmony Borax Works was our first afternoon stop. At full operation in 1882, 40 men were employed here. And the history of the 20 mule teams and how they transported borax through the desert valley 165 miles in 10-day spans is an everlasting impression of the Old West. Through time, borax has played an important role and is still a key ingredient in many products used today.
Get all packed up here again.
Our final stop for the day brings us to the Ubehebe crater. This large volcanic crater is 600 feet deep and a half-mile across. Formed over 2,000 years ago, a walk around the rim is a distance of about 1.5 miles. From here, it's back to the ranch for the evening. Dinner at the Last Kind Word Saloon was a great way to end the day. But after dark, you can't forget the spectacular star fields in the skies above. The next morning, a stroll through the grounds at the ranch was therapeutic. This full-service resort, originally opened in 1933, has something for everyone. And a borax museum with artifacts that will bring you back in time. As we say goodbye to the ranch, we'll make several stops before our journey home. Stovepipe Wells is first. Early prospectors marked a lone water hole on the trail with a stovepipe, hence the unusual name. A Death Valley staple, Stovepipe Wells is a key location for goods and services, including a hotel and campgrounds. A final stop brings us to the Mesquite Sand Dunes. A popular park attraction, the sand dunes are 100 feet high and a photographer's playground, particularly at sunrise. It's a great place for walking or hiking and taking in the mountain range colors. This short but mystical tour through Death Valley National Park showcased its extremes, but also spotlights all this area has to offer.
If you are industrious enough, you could start at the lowest point in the continental United States, Badwater, which is 278 feet below sea level. And if you really were energetic and enthusiastic, you could get in your car, and less than 100 miles, you would end up at the highest point in the continental United States, Mount Whitney, over 14,000 feet, all within the realm of Death Valley National Park.
This captivating journey of over 500 miles brought me back in time to the Old West, piqued my interest in its history, and makes me wonder, where will the road take me next?